Are you currently feeling so empty and emotionally disconnected from your partner? Are you considering walking out of that long-term relationship because of all the troubles you've been going through? Just wait a minute. I have a very good advice for you. Why not keep watching this video to the end? Because I'll be showing you practical steps and things you have to do in order to enhance your relationship so you can be able to rekindle back the flame of love back into your marriage. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, I'm inviting you to do that right now and hit the notification bell so you'll be alerted when I make new videos. Keep on watching. This is a continuation of the secrets to a blissful marriage. In the last episode, I talked about how to accept your spouse and how you can find your inner happiness. If you are yet to watch that video, oh my goodness, just click on the screen and make sure you watch that video. It is fully packed. And I'll be continuing the discussion today. We all know that building a long-lasting relationship, it takes a lot of work, hard work. You must be ready to pay the price for your marriage. You must be ready to pay the price for your marriage to survive the ups and downs that will come at every given point in time. You must never compare your marriage with someone else's marriage. You know, there's bound to be disagreements, there's bound to be quarrels, but when they come, you have to develop the spirit of trying to understand the other person's perspective. You must be willing to apologize when you are wrong and be ready to forgive your spouse when they are at fault. You have to be ready to remove a lot of bitterness and resentments from your heart. Because if you don't, my dear friend, it will only make things worse for you. And it will make hatred to fester in your heart. You have to know that there is no perfect marriage. We all come to love the imperfect person perfectly. In order for you to enjoy your marriage to the fullest, in order for you to enjoy that relationship, you have to remove all forms of resentments from your heart. And to achieve this, you have to have a good heart-to-heart talk with your partner. And that brings us to communication. Communicating in the right way. You have a lot of things bottled up in your heart. You must speak up, because communication is the key to a successful marriage. You don't have to start assuming that your spouse is going to know about all the things that are troubling your heart. You have to talk about it. Yeah. You should know that your partner is not a magician. Don't expect him or her to know what is going on in your mind. You are upset about something. Maybe he said something wrong or acted in a way that you didn't like, and you take offense and you keep it in your heart. Are you expecting him to know that it is what he or she did that is making you to feel that way? No. It shouldn't be that way. If you don't talk about it, he's never going to know what is upsetting you. And you will just be killing yourself for nothing, because you become moody. You begin to give him or her an attitude that is very repulsive. You know, sometimes you need to really speak up. In fact, I remember in the early days of my marriage, my husband used to just call, when I'm watching my favorite program on TV. When he just comes back from work, he would just take the remote and change it either to a news channel or to a sports channel. I would just be keeping quiet and I would just walk away. And it was building in my heart. I used to just take it all in until I knew that I had to talk about it. And we eventually talked about it and worked it out. So it can happen in very little ways. Keep messing up the whole place. I don't like the way you throw things around and all that. And these are little things that can begin to build up in your mind towards your partner. And you never get to talk about it. And you keep it. There are people, women, that can keep malice. Even men. They can keep malice. And you just come back home one day, you just discover that your partner is not talking to you, really. I remember one lady the other day was telling me how she gave her husband and paid him back in his own coin for ever talking rudely to her in public. And he never knew why she was acting that way. So you have to talk about things that ails you. Really, because if you don't talk about it, how is he going to know? How is she going to know? And another thing is to start up a conversation with your partner. And you have to develop the right technique on how to talk about things that are upsetting you. Because if you don't, you might even make things worse. If you want to start a conversation, don't begin with criticism. That's number one. Anger, number two. Name calling and dishing out of threats, number three. Those three things, it won't go well. You won't have a good conversation that will yield results. So I'm going to be talking about ways to communicate better with your spouse. Talking about criticisms, let's analyze it. For example, if someone starts up a conversation with you by first criticizing you, will you like it? How will you feel? Will you feel okay? It's going to be palatable for you. You know? It's likely going to provoke some form of anger or some form of defense from you. So you have to avoid criticizing your partner with words like, you don't even care about me. You hardly make out time for me. You are always so upset. When you are trying to have a heart-to-heart talk with your partner and you start by first saying all the negative words, it's going to put him or her off. So criticism is likely going to put the next person off and make him feel so pissed. So you have to avoid blaming your partner. Avoid words like you are good for nothing, you are so heartless. That will be counterproductive. It won't work, especially when you are trying to talk about things that troubles you and you want to be heard. Okay? When you start by criticizing, the other person will become defensive and he or she will begin to reply you like, it's not true. Oh, that's not fair. No, that is not correct. I will want to disprove your statement. And before you know it, an argument will come up and the entire heart-to-heart talk will be truncated. So you have to learn the right communication skills in order for you to pass the right message, for you to be heard, and for you to effect a change. Another thing you must watch is anger. If you are angry and you are still so hot, please don't bother starting up a conversation because it will end in a very terrible quarrel. So just chill. Come back to yourself and talk to yourself. Try to come to terms with yourself and ask yourself why you are so angry. Angry outbursts and angry tone in a conversation, it won't work. You have to mind the tone of your voice whenever you are talking to your partner. When you begin to throw tantrums, angry outbursts and angry tone will make the entire environment very tense. And you have to ensure that the anger inside of you is gone before you try to communicate with your partner. Else, The environment will become so tense. You will even see that yourself. You will be panting, you will be shouting and yelling. And you can't be heard by so doing. Uncontrolled anger can result in a fight. Before you know it, it's either he's kicking you or you are the one hitting him. And it won't work. It won't just work. You have to watch your emotions. Whenever you are angry, ensure that you deal with that anger first. Sit yourself down. Talk with yourself. Ask yourself a lot of questions. Why am I this angry? Should I be this angry? Am I justified or not? Whichever way, you have to ensure that your emotion is down and you are no longer angry. Another thing is to avoid threatening your partner. Don't start by dishing out threats to your partner and making statements like, if you don't do this, it is all over. You have to be careful about what you say to your partner, because those kind of words can be very hurtful. Threats that you will leave or you will divorce and get separated, it's just so unnecessary, really. Don't start giving conditional statements as to why the other person needs to hear you out or needs to change. Sometimes this conditional statement can foster fear, bitterness, and resentment in your partner. So at the end of the day, what that thing you are trying to achieve, you may not be able to achieve it any longer. Give the relationship a shot. If you want to work on your relationship, and if it is worth, salvaging, you try to salvage it, but don't do that by threatening or by giving conditional statements or things that will make your partner insecure, afraid, and even bitter. Okay? When you criticize and you threaten your partner, he or she will begin to feel bad, begin to feel downtrodden or low. They will take you as being kind of insensitive sometimes. They will think that you are mean or self-centered. And sometimes you can get so upset and just practically walk out on you. And that will make you feel so bad. And you see what I mean? So you have to be careful the kind of words that you say. You have to be careful not to be threatening your partner in order to be heard. Threats can cause so much hurt. Imagine somebody telling you that you are good for nothing, you are heartless, I'm done with you. How would you feel? Imagine somebody telling you that it's all over between us. How would you feel? You feel broken. Similarly, if you say it to another person, the person will feel broken as well. So your partner can begin to reason like, oh, is that it? Okay, no problem. Do your worst. If you want to go, go. The person can begin to say, oh, you keep complaining and nagging. What about me? I feel so loved too. I feel you don't even care about me too. What about me? Must it always be about you? And this is the thing that can start, coming into the person's mind that you're talking to. Alright? And the person can get so sparked up and say things like, in fact, I am even done with you. This relationship is not working. Let's call it quits. And remember, that is not what you were driving at initially. But because you couldn't control your temper, because of the methods that you started using, statement was gradually building momentum and gradually building some sparks and fires that now exploded into what you never bargained for. So you agree with me that your words, your method of communication is very important. in trying to talk to the other person, if you are not mindful, you will get the opposite effect. The person becomes cold, your relationship even becomes worse and begin to degenerate. You now have a gap, an emotional gap. You now have a communication gap that will deepen. And before you know it, you are separated or divorced. And that's it. So you have to really know how to pass your message in such a way that you will get a listening ear. You have to be able to pass your message in such a way that it will effect the needed change that you desire. And so I'm going to be telling you the best way to communicate is not those 3 ways I just mentioned, and I'm going to share it with you. And you try it, if it works or not. First, if you want someone to change from a particular behavior to what you really desire, you need to give the person the reason why the person has to change. For you to effect any form of change at all in any human being, that person must be given the why to change. The reason has to be clear in the head of the person why he has to change. If you want me to care more about you, if you want me to love you more than ever before, if you want me to create more time for you, just give me the right reason. And that is it. And that is what I'm going to be sharing with you right now. Instead of you using the wrong methods I just mentioned, why not try this? Let's assume you've not been getting along with your spouse. There have been a lot of quarrels and disagreements in recent times. Instead of complaining and criticizing and being angry and all that, you can start by saying, "Oh, sweetheart," or whatever you call your partner. "You know how much I love you and how much I desire to make this relationship to work out. And recently, darling, we've been quarreling a lot and we've drifted apart. I feel so hot and I feel so lonely. I long for that reconnection that we once had when we started. I would love it if you can care more and spend more time with me." Wow. If he hears this, I assure you he will just melt and become vulnerable to you. Just imagine the well-structured words that I just mentioned. Whoever hears this is gonna melt. I tell you, except the person has no feelings for you anymore. Else, when you start like this, he's gonna melt and you become more vulnerable to you. I guarantee you that this will bring a better result. He's likely going to be more receptive and give you a listening ear. When you begin to change your method of passing a message concerning what hurts you, it's going to yield a better result. So I advise today, avoid criticisms, avoid angry outbursts, and avoid name callings. You will see, you will have a better response. You will have a better outcome than when you use the other methods I outlined in this video. So, change your communication skill and try to do it in a different way and see how it's gonna work for you. So if you have been doing it wrong, change to something better and see if you have a better outcome. I want to thank you for joining me to the end of this video, and I hope that your communication skills will be better than ever before. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I would really love that. And if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, Oh, come on. What are you waiting for? Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you will be alerted when I make new videos. I'm going to be bringing you another episode on the secrets to a successful and a blissful marriage. You're not gonna miss the third episode in this series. Make sure you join me in my next video. Until I see you again, stay in peace.